now let's get into, I'm going to get into some serious stuff now because I wanted to build up to this. And, that the whole issue of getting a new job today has become extremely difficult. I have people that'll tell me they've sent out 20 or 30 resumes and they've gotten absolute no responses at all. And there's a good reason for that. We're going to talk about that. But I absolutely believe there's a better way of finding a job. And that's what I really want to bring up today. And that's really what this whole conversation is about. I believe in circumventing the system. And what it means by that is you see a job you're interested in, and instead of sending a resume, you do all the research. You find out who the company is, you find out what their mission is, you find out who the leadership is. You determine from that whether or not it's a good fit. And you do that, it's just like me when I'm a recruiter. That's exactly what I do to find out about companies that I'm working with. And once you do that, you can then begin moving towards the next step, which would be creating a letter, taking your resume, adapting it to whatever the job opportunity is, and then sending it to the leadership, not to HR. I hope there's no HR people in here because I don't want to offend you, but I really am a strong believer that you go directly to the people that are in pain. And those are the hiring authorities that are looking for somebody, and the vacancy's been there for quite some time, and they're not getting the results they were looking for. And sometimes it's because the description that they gave to HR may not have included all the important factors that were needed. And so going directly to the individual that is struggling with the opening is the best way to do that. And I do that with every one of my clients. This is what I teach them to do. I teach people to become their own recruiter. And there's no rocket science. It's very simple. It's just following some basic steps. And I can assure you that it'll make a difference in your job search program. So let's talk a little bit about it. I spread it out a little bit in these I have 8 steps here, but it was actually 7. So I don't know, I think I took one off and forgot to change the 8. So what you need to do is first determine if the industry you're in is one that you really enjoy, then you stay in that industry. You may determine that you're tired of your industry and it's time to move on and you want to find something else that would make you happy. That's a whole different process. And I've run across that many times where somebody may be laid off. And I have a great example of somebody that I recently spoke to. He was with a large telecommunications company for 21 years. He was the lead in a customer service division. Got laid off because they decided to combine departments, and he started looking, and he's been really struggling with it. And we sat down and we talked, and I got to the point of, tell me what makes you happy. What do you like doing? What's the most important thing in the world? And as we were talking, and he came up with, I love construction. I love doing construction. So I says, why aren't you looking at construction jobs? Not labor type positions, but management, production, that type of thing. Well, his whole attitude changed after that discussion. And that applies with everybody. Sometimes we get into a job that we think this is it for the rest of our lives. This is what we're going to do. And I could name a lot of lawyers that have fallen into that, a lot of dentists that are falling into that, a lot of physicians who end up saying, I'm done. This isn't what I really wanted. And that goes with people that are in business. You jump into a particular industry, you're doing it, you love it while you're younger, and all of a sudden, as you move forward and you find that your values have changed, it's time to look for a different job. If you really want to find something you really love, you got to really do an in-depth conversation with yourself and say, what do I like? What's going to make me happy? And I know so many people that have jumped out of where they were, where they started once they graduated college into where they are now, and they're much happier doing what they're doing now. Wish they would have done it, 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Something you really ought to consider. If you're in the job search market right now, is it the right industry for you, or is it time for you to look elsewhere? So if it is the right industry for you, what I'm going to recommend you do is you find and you create a list of 10 to 15 companies that you would really like to work for. And you label them, as you can see, A, B, and C. What I mean by that, A is, I'd love to work for them. God, if they took my resume and they gave me a job, I'd say yes tomorrow. B is, okay, this is a good company. It's a good alternative to the A's. If they make me an offer, I probably would end up doing. C, on the other hand, is not the greatest option in the world, but you have to do that to determine who's the best opportunity going to be with. And I tell people, you do a spreadsheet and you list all the pros and cons of each of the companies, determine which one is the best one for you to go after. Once you do that, you get on the website, you do an in-depth review of that organization. If they're a public corporation, you can get all the details on their finances. You do all that. It's not looking for a job is not easy. It's probably one of the hardest jobs you'll ever have. But unless you do it this way, you're going to still be sending, and you're still sending resumes out because you think somebody's going to look at it. You're not going to have any successes. And I'm telling you that you've got to work very hard to find this job. So once you go into their career board and you look at their website, then the next thing you really want to do is go through and review the senior leadership team and get in there. Just don't go looking at LinkedIn. Find out as much as you can about that team, that individual. Facebook, social, whatever it is, find out who they are. What you want to find is some commonality between you and them. That's going to be your entree when you go to talk to them. So it's very important to dig into that and find out. And I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference if you run into somebody who actually ended up going to the same school you went to, and you had something in common to talk about, or he was on a football team with you when you were in high school. Those are the kind of things that work. And that's what helps you get to that job, because as you'll see, there's a little red word I put under there, and that's called referral. So if you're able to find people that you know, or that you can affiliate with or associate with, and they can become a referral, because a referral doesn't have to be somebody you've known forever. It could be a referral when you click on LinkedIn and you connect with them and you briefly say, look, I see I see this organization and it's something I'm really interested in. And just, and you reach out to them and you ask them if you can have a quick conversation with them. People will do that. I get responses when I do my connections, and I'm not looking for a job, but I'm also a career coach. So people, wonder why I'm doing that, but a lot of them understand and they will connect with me. But if you're looking for a job, you have got to really set your mind on working very hard to do it. I can't tell you how much I emphasize that, and it works. And if you take the time to do it, and you really put time into it, I can assure you, you will end up with a successful search. I'm not going to guarantee it 100%, but I can tell you that it'll make it a lot easier for you. Because look, every time you get a decline, or you're told by letter that you're not acceptable, it hurts. It hurts everybody, and I know that. And you can sit here on this call and say, no, it's not going to affect me, but it affects us all. You get, if you apply to a job and you get psyched about it, and you're loving it, and you think, boy, I'm the perfect guy for this. And you may even go through the first interview. And then all of a sudden you get a rejection letter. tell me, if you can tell me it doesn't hurt, then, I don't know what to say, but I got to tell you, I know it hurts people. Look, I even know growing up and when I was looking for a job and got a rejection letter, it was tough. And I never knew why, because I always thought I was perfect for the job like everybody else does. And they go through an interview and they think, "Wow, I did great with this interview." As a recruiter, I heard that many, many times. I did great. It went really well. I know they liked me. I liked them. They never get a call back. What happens? That's the reality. And that's why learning to interview, which I don't talk about it, I'm not going to be talking about in this, but there's all these aspects that go into it. And I have to tell you that, like I say over and over again, and I'm going to keep repeating it, it's a hard job to find a job. And if you're out there looking right now, I understand. And if I can help you, I will.